many, many, many other black leaders. They
Absolutely.
never went so far as to say some of the things he did.
No, no.
But he really educated,
Right.
not just black people, but it opened the eyes and hearts of people who for the first time started to see America for what America was.
Right. And as I understand it, Yuri, he sent you postcards from
Yes.
various places that he was traveling.
Oh, yes, from...
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think he sent, 11 from 9 different countries. I mean, Kenya, Nigeria, Egypt. I mean...
Did you save them?
What?
Do you
Oh,
still
yes.
have them?
Oh, yes. I'll keep them
Fantastic.
forever and pass
Right.
them down to my grands.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And Malcolm had such a way with people, I think because he was so genuine.
Yes,
And
he was.
that's why
He was our Black
people
Prince.
just really loved Malcolm.
Yes.
And I don't think there's any other leader, national leader, that had that kind of love bestowed on them.
No.
And-
I remember I was living in New York City when the funeral took place, but I was still, semi-conscious. I was just kind of waking up, still in my 20s. And I remember the funeral in Harlem, and it was huge. The streets were packed. And, of course, Ossie Davis gave the
Right.
the eulogy,
Oh,
which was
beautiful.
Viewers, if you haven't heard that, you should look it up. You should Google that.
Yes.
Just
Oh,
the-
yes.
Ossie Davis' eulogy to Malcolm X was just incredible.
Yes, and people still recite it.
Oh yes,
They've memorized
yes.
it. It's
Yes.
just, it'll
Yes.
live.
And when he came back from Mecca, also. One of the problems I have with a lot of our more narrow nationalist brothers and sisters is that they tend to quote Malcolm, early Malcolm,
Oh, yes.
and they refuse to acknowledge changed Malcolm. And it's almost as bad as portraying him as a hustler and a pimp.
Yeah.
Because, and he changed from that. He changed from being a narrow nationalist. He became an internationalist, and almost no sooner than he became an internationalist, they assassinated him.
Right. Because he
That's
had
when he
met-
became a threat.
Right, with so many progressive Africans. And United States knew that Malcolm made an impact in Africa.
Oh,
so
yes.
So Malcolm became a threat to the U.S.
Oh, absolutely.
But one of the people who affected Malcolm in a very good way were the Algerians. This Algerian went up to Malcolm and said, "I'm an Algerian, and our people were born here, we lived it, but we look white to some people."
North Africans, right.
Yeah, North African.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he said, "So how does that figure with you? What do you see us as?" But then, and Malcolm listened very carefully, and then he said, "Yes, you are as African as any other African who is darker." And he said, "I'm glad you came and told me that yourself." He said, "There are things that I have to learn and change." And so that was a good example. Malcolm did change
Right.
in many ways.
He was always growing and developing
Yes.
and changing.
And even some things he said he even was sorry for. Benjamin Goodman was one of... Oh, we have to wrap.
Yeah, we do have to wrap
I'm sorry,
up.
William, what shall we wrap up on?
Oh, it's okay. I don't want you to get nervous, but finish what you were saying. We got another.
Oh,
30
okay,
seconds.
I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about Malcolm changing from his attitude toward whites.
Right, and especially listen to this Algerian.
Right.
But also, Malcolm told Brother Benjamin that he was even sorry that he he answered so rudely to the white girl who came to the restaurant,
Right.
you know, and
Yes.
said, "What can I do for you?" And he said, "Nothing," because
Right.
he said he believes in treating everybody with, you know,
As a human
kind,
being.
yes, as human
Right.
being.
And that's what he did. He took it to a higher level, to
Right.
the human rights level, not
Right.
just civil
Yeah,
rights.
'cause
We're
Malcolm
completely
said,
out
yeah.
of time. Yuri Kochiyama, thank you so much for
Oh,
being our
thank
guest
you.
here on Freedom is a Constant Struggle. Be sure and go to the Malcolm X Jazz Festival tomorrow, 18th Avenue and San Antonio Boulevard, 11 to 7 tomorrow, all day. John Santos, Guapale, and many, many others. Next week, Ricardo Alvarez, a doctor right here in San Francisco, will be our guest to talk about the Mission Neighborhood Health Center HIV clinic and lots of other information about this awful healthcare center. Thank you for tuning in to Freedom is a Constant